Hi YouTube, this is Darkonslaught, and today is the first installment of my Darkonslaught Retron Reviews, and today we'll be looking at the Power of the Force Darth Vader's Advanced TIE Fighter. Now, since I grew up during the prequel trilogy, I didn't know much about the original films. I only saw the original films maybe about, I guess, late middle school, early high school. I don't remember how long ago did I first see them, but I did really like the look of Darth Vader's Advanced TIE Fighter. I've been wanting to get one over the years, especially with the release at Toys R Us and the 2-pack with the Death Star Trench Run, but I was never able to get a hold of the vehicle until about a couple months ago, and I've enjoyed it ever since. Now, before we go on to the vehicle, as you can see, it is missing the 3 green missiles, but I'm okay with it since it does have another feature which we'll get into in a minute. But I really do like the look of his TIE Fighter. Now, because I didn't grow up during the original trilogy, I did not know much about this vehicle and so on, besides just how it looks, and I really like the design of it. Since this is a used one, it does have quite an amount of wear in several areas, but while it would be cool to get a brand new one, I like it for what it is, since it does give a lot of more authentic battle damage look over the years, since a lot of the paint is worn off in several areas, and it just looks like it went through a lot of battle and wear and tear, so it gives a little bit more of a realistic feel to me personally. But anyways, we'll take a look at the vehicle. As you can see, it's a lot larger than your standard type of vehicle, especially the ones today. Now, while I do like the vehicles released during The Force Unleashed, it just doesn't seem to have enough bulk compared to this, which obviously, even though this isn't the original Kenner release or maybe an updated version, it's still pretty bulky for what it is, and I don't think Hasbro really needed to change too much over the years to the design of this particular vehicle. But anyways, we can see that it does have these large side panels, which does have an exceptional amount of wear, as you can see on that side. This side, I think, if I remember correctly, didn't have as much. Besides a few scratches and dings here and there, and bounces. Having an issue there. But other than that, that's pretty much it just for the design of the vehicle, except for maybe how it shows on top with a bunch of wear. And down here, we got some wear too. Down here is actually a lever, which we'll get to in a minute what that does. But it's still a pretty cool vehicle. Now, this vehicle does not feature any electronics, and the only features it had is that lever, which actually activates the guns, which we'll now quickly go over here. What you do is slide this forward, and then these guns on both sides will eject forward. Try to get it into frame here. Like so. So, that's cool that the vehicle does allow that. Even if mine is missing the 2 green missiles, it does at least have a way of firing, and a lot of more imaginative play because of that. But anyways, we'll put away the guns, and the cockpit is actually able to open. Now inside, even though it's sticker detail, it does have some pretty decent detail for a cockpit, and I think it works rather well. Now, the figure that I will be putting into this vehicle to show off here is my original copy, which I actually got a long time ago when these figures were first released. The Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back Vintage Collection Darth Vader. Now, this Vader, even though I really like the design of it, and I liked it ever since I got it, it does suffer from that infamous issue, for those who already have a hold of this figure, of the helmet keep popping off. But anyways, we'll take a look at the figure itself. The head can turn, and hopefully the helmet will stay on left and right, and can look up and down a bit, but it's just really attached via a peg. His shoulders do have a wide range of movement, since it can go forward and back, and it does have a ball hinge, and the helmet is trying to come off. Just hold off there. It does have a ball hinge, which allows upwards movement, but it's rather tight on mine, so I'm not going to move it around too much. He does have ball-jointed elbows, so allows a wide range of movement all around there. And he does have swivels in his wrists, so it can allow movement there. He doesn't have any waist articulation, unfortunately, but he does feature forwards movement, which is another problem with this particular figure I've seen, that it doesn't have any more hip movement. But it does have ball-jointed knees, which allows full movement, and that's pretty much it. Actually, I think his feet can pivot just a bit, but not too much. I think it's just around there. It does swivel a bit too, but it's rather tight. But anyways, since we're going to quickly look over it here, since his helmet is removable and it's actually in two pieces, which is accurate to the film's suit design. Underneath, it shows his head unmasked, which is a pretty good likeness to the actor. We're gonna plug this back in and just let it sit there, which I really wish there was a way to clip on the helmet of some way, or maybe just have a better fit. And he does also come with a red lightsaber, which is just his typical red lightsaber. Which we'll take a look here. It has a really good design. I really like the design of the lightsaber. Not too much in the, I guess, awesome factor, since lightsaber is just a lightsaber pretty much. Can't really go much different than that. And it does fit really well in his hand. No problems of it popping off or anything, so that's really nice. Here's a close-up of him holding it, so that's pretty cool. We'll take a look at the vintage card quickly again. Shows Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader, and I did tape the bubble on so that this won't pop off and so on, just to keep it more secure. And on the back it shows the original toy that was released during The Empire Strikes Back. Just a little bio information about the re-releases or the updated versions on the new Kenner card. And then it shows the other figures that were released in this wave. So that's pretty much it for the card itself. Well, now, take out the lightsaber so then we can actually put Darth Vader in his TIE Fighter. We're just going to put him in his sitting position, so just going to let him sit like this. And these pieces are made of a cloth material, even the waist piece around, so it is a bit floppy when you're moving around in there, but it's not really too bad. We'll now open this up, and then we're just going to sit him inside. And he does fit in really well, so there's no worry about that. I'm trying to secure him in. It's a little hard to get it in camera, so just gonna put off his helmet first and then try to put him in. Kind of need to play around with it since his cape does kind of get in the way of him securely inside there. We'll now put back on his helmet. Then we're just going to put his lightsaber inside. And then close the cockpit. And he does sit really well inside the cockpit. Now I'm not sure how well it's picking up on the camera, but as you can see he is inside the cockpit, and there's a bit of an open gap inside the top, so it allows a little bit of light to get in, so it shows the look of Darth Vader. And that's pretty much it for the Power of the Force TIE Fighter. Now, it itself on its own really doesn't have that many features, and I think it's pretty good for imaginative play. There isn't a lot of gizmos and gadgets on this toy, like electronics or maybe some motion-activated sounds or anything, but I think it works well for a pretty simplistic vehicle, and I highly recommend picking this up for those who like the design of the TIE Fighter, or maybe just a fan of Darth Vader in general. But anyways, please comment, subscribe, and check out Hirotaku and the Gideon blog as soon as they reopen up. Also, please check out my Twitter handle under Darkon633, but there isn't much I've been posting there since I got a job in the last few months. As I mentioned in the Chewbacca video, most of these videos have been pre-recorded, and that's why things have been going up. But anyways, I still think this is a really nice vehicle, and it's definitely worth it for any Star Wars fan. But anyways, I'll be seeing you on YouTube. Bye.